sort of moment of quality from Rayan. I know it took a deflection off Bassi, which is tactically he's able to change things and tweak things. The game today was two evenly matched sides, but they had that sort of moment of quality from Rayan. I know it took a deflection off Bassi, which is what Marco Silva said, and I know that the sendings off probably changed things a little bit, but again, just another win, another strong performance from them, because two very good sides that both played lovely stuff but maybe just lacked the end product, especially Fulham. But yeah, incredible run, and like you say, what a bizarre story if Bournemouth get into the Champions League spots.
But even then, it's still really not baking in all of the things that you want to see. There's always still a lot more context that's needed around the data. So looking at something like this, you look at the previous graph, you're like, wow, you know, this is, I mean, he gets a lot of shots, but like this isn't really a very, very strong, very complete winger. But when you look at it from on a per pass received basis, a lot of the stuff looks a lot better. And then, of course, the things that he does well, he looks phenomenal at.
Yeah, and if I just share my screen quickly, and we can just discuss this a little bit on the tactics board. One second. Yeah, so I think that what you said about him kind of playing in that wide role, it really does, I think, suit someone, especially at his age, who's able to get off shots, because you're always just going to have more time to get those shots off. I think at the moment, especially in the Premier League, teams are so frightened of kind of this area here, and so that area is always so packed out. But if you're able to get a shooter like Rayan into wide areas, you can then cut in into these types of areas and then get that shooting opportunity. That's probably going to be more effective than having someone where it's so tight and packed, where maybe he won't be able to get those shots off, especially in the Premier League where defensive structures are so good. I think you saw with his first goal how he was able to travel in from the wide areas, obviously a very powerful carrier, and then he's great shooting off both feet. He's left-footed, of course, but he scored like a very interesting technique type finish. So I think that's really, really like the way to maximize him at this point, I think, from those wide areas, despite him kind of having the build of a traditional nine. The other thing I was going to say is, we all know that at the moment the Premier League is such a transitional league. Teams are, it's becoming very end-to-end type football. There's a lot of kind of stuff going on in the middle, and then teams trying to get into the space in behind. And I think Rayan, when you look at his build, he is just made for the Premier League. The powerfulness, the carrying ability in transition, but also being that effective final third player like we discussed, in terms of, doesn't matter how kind of little the ball he gets, he will make things happen when he receives it. And when games are so tight in the Premier League now, you want someone who's going to make things count, and when it gets into the final third, they're going to get final actions off, whether that's a shot, whether that's a pass. He is someone that maximizes every opportunity he gets in the final third in terms of trying to get output from it. So I think he is a match made in heaven for the Premier League. And yeah, I think Bournemouth recruitment, I mean, you can't ever doubt their recruitment. It's been spot on for so long. Probably taken over from Brighton in terms of the best recruitment in the league.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just now realizing this is the second time we've talked about a Bournemouth player in 3 episodes. So yeah, I think that tells you all you need to know about the recruitment, or at least our feelings toward it.
Yeah, to seek information about the lad. And it feels, I think the first port of call for Cherries fans is when we hear about a signing, we always look at YouTube, we have a look at social media to seek information about the lad. And it feels like that he's the next best thing. I mean, Vasco fans seem to be incredibly sort of emotional about his departure. He played last night for them by the looks of it, scored a couple of goals, and then he gave supporters what looked like a long and extended goodbye. It seems like he is going to go, and it is very much heartrending for them.
Yeah, he's been at the club since he was 6. His dad played for Vasco as well, so it wasn't an easy decision, but it's been a long time coming, which may sound silly considering he's only 19 years of age, but he made his debut when he was 16, and he's just been developed over the last year massively. And I think the credit has to go to Fernando Diniz. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about his profile and stuff, but the jump and how he's developed from 2024 to 2025, look, it's how football works now. If you have a season just like Ryan Fatour did, like, the big clubs are going to be looking, but the big clubs have been looking for 3 years now. Since he made his debut when he was 16, Real Madrid were looking, Barcelona have been keeping tabs on him, maybe because they've got Mastantuono and other players now that they've dipped out. But lots of big European clubs have been looking, and like, no disrespect to Bournemouth, I just didn't see it coming. I think it's excellent business. And look, Bournemouth have a reputation for developing players, and with Semenyo now on his way, look, maybe this is the perfect fit for Ryan Vitor to come in. But look, just because he's 19, he will need time to develop in the Premier League, of course. But he's been there and done it now for a few years. And look, we'll dive into his profile a little bit more. But he's been a very strong talent over the last 12 months. And it's something that I said 12 months ago. I was like, if he adds goals to his game, all the clubs in Europe are going to come to try and sign him for however much it would be, whatever the fee is. And it's happened. And look, fair play to Bournemouth. Great scouting. I know one of the scouts with Bournemouth who deals with the South American market. He's a great guy, and some names he's given me in the past, he's been well ahead of the curve. So the fact that he's looked towards Ryan Vitor and probably played his part, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan's he's into the third season of his senior career, so he only turned 19 on August the 3rd. It feels quite unusual to have so much experience at such a young age. I suppose that's, probably testament to his ability, right?
It's his ability. It's also Vasco's situation. Like when he first made his Aston Villa, he's barely had one season, really. So maybe
But it's success built upon success, built upon success.
Yeah, remarkable.
These are uncharted times for fans of our vintage.
Yeah, that's remarkable.
Just drink it in.
Absolutely, mate. But I for one, feel very lucky. I don't know if you feel the same, in the sense that it feels that much better because we've experienced all them lows. We've gone through it all. And now we're at the best it's ever been. It's incredible. And yeah, the away end, I mean, it's obviously, when it's the most recent game, it's in your memory more. And we've had a lot of the good away ends over the years, but it felt pretty special from the get-go. And there was just a few chances there that normally you sing them a few times and then it kind of, and they're just going and weren't stopping. And yeah, it was a really good away, and everyone was in such good spirits, mate. It was perfection.
Just a huge win against, let's face it, a formidable side in Fulham, especially at home. Yeah. They were fighting for Europe. And we showed unbelievable character to come together like we did. Determination from the players was visible on the pitch, especially after we went down to 10 men as well. But then, of course, that was levelled up. If we want to make Europe, these results need to happen. Yeah. And we were thinking that after Leeds United, when they scored their last-minute goal, we were all deflated. But I think this is just the perfect tonic, isn't it? Because it was really, when you consider the last couple of games that we've got, must win. We've got Manchester City, who are obviously a world-class football team. No. And Forest, beforehand, we didn't know whether their Premier League safety would be confirmed. Now we know it is, but yeah,
every team wants to win their last home game.
They're going to want to have a party as well. Yeah. So that was absolutely huge for them.
Did have a little thought, though, going to the Forest game. They'll probably not be playing for anything.
Okay.
What they might be able to do is lose the game and make us finish above Villa, who they don't like. Just a thought, Forest there. If they want to just have a day off. They've had a tough season. But no, I know what you mean, mate. It's similar to getting in these sort of them European spots, or even winning the league and all these sort of things. You can play attacking brand of football and scoring goals, and that gets you a long way. But you will always have, as you're seeing a lot with Arsenal at the moment, right at the top. You will always have games where you've just had to do all the basics right, take your moment, and just get through it. And we've had a few of them, but not many. I think when we've won, we've been like, God, we were good today. Yeah. It wasn't that sort of game.
Oh, no.
But I think you saw from early on, and also when the two teams, go down to 10 men, that this is probably going to be an edgy one that someone just nicks. And at the moment, we just feel like we're always going to be the team that get that nick.
Vibes of running away.
Yeah, definitely, mate, yeah.
Wasn't it?
It was indeed, yeah. Just getting the goal. And then, but I don't think we were like, it didn't feel like hanging on, because we had a lot of chances of the break. We should have killed it off, really.
We should have.
But we're a tough nut to crack at the moment, aren't we?
We are.
We are a tough nut to crack. We look hard to score against, which is not something that we've said too often in all our time in the Premier League. So, yeah, all the parts of the puzzle seem to be coming together at the right time.
So people who are listening to the pod may not know this. And by the way, we did have a comment saying, are you going to be doing video on Spotify next season? We'll see if we can. We'll see if we can. I don't know how to do it, but if we can make it happen.
I think they have to make you. I think Spotify have to.
Do they?
Give you, Spotify, just give us a call.
Yeah, maybe we'll make it happen, mate. But you won't be able to see that myself and Tom are both sporting Vasco da Gama shirts. Now, there was one person that suggested, because I wore one on a second look, and you did it for your part run that you didn't finish. They were suggesting that we just shared a top.
Didn't they?
But when you've got all of these legitimate websites to buy a shirt from,
exactly, mate. Yeah.
Then why not? So this is for all the Vasco fans.
We love you.
Saying thank you for Rayan.
Do you know all these Vasco fans have never seen Bournemouth lose? It's mental, isn't it?
That's weird.
It's mental. But it's true. Thought. Yeah, I love the club. Absolutely, I'd die for Vasco.
Yeah,
love them. But I quite like the shirt as well, which helped. But I'm sure we'll come on to him. But he's a little bit inevitable at the moment, isn't he, Rayan? I think because we have actually got the only two teams in the Premier League.